Peace be upon you. Welcome back to Wealth and Wisdom. Today we answer the question of what is backing Bitcoin. Contrary to popular belief, Bitcoin is in fact backed by something. It is backed by the only thing that backs any form of money, the credibility of its monetary properties. Money is not a collective hallucination nor merely a belief system. Over the course of history, various mediums have emerged as money, and each time, it has not just been by coincidence. Goods that emerge as money possess unique properties that differentiate them from other market goods. If you have not already read The Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Ammous, we encourage you to so. Monetary goods possess unique properties that make them particularly useful as a means of exchange. These properties include scarcity, durability, divisibility, fungibility and portability, among others. With each emergent money, inherent properties of one medium improve upon and obsolete the monetary properties inherent in a pre-existing form of money, and every time a good has monetized, another has demonetized. Essentially, the relative strengths of one monetary medium outcompete that of another, and Bitcoin is no different. It represents a technological advancement in the global competition for money. It is the superior successor to gold and the fiat money systems that leveraged gold's monetary properties. Before we continue, we kindly ask you to like and subscribe to the channel. Bitcoin is outcompeting its analog predecessors on the basis of its monetary properties. Bitcoin is finitely scarce, and it is more easily divisible and more easily transferable than its incumbent competitors. It is also more decentralized, and as a derivative, more resistant to censorship or corruption. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, and each Bitcoin is divisible to 8 decimal points, 1/100 millionth. Value can be transferred to anyone and anywhere in the world on a permissionless basis, and final settlement does not rely on any third party. In aggregate, its monetary properties are vastly superior to any other form of money used today. And, these properties do not exist by chance, nor do they exist in a vacuum. The emergent monetary properties in Bitcoin are secured and reinforced through a combination of cryptography, a network of decentralized nodes enforcing a common set of consensus rules, and a robust mining network ensuring the integrity and immutability of Bitcoin's transaction ledger. The currency itself is the keystone which binds the system together, creating economic incentives that allow the security columns to function as a whole. But even still, Bitcoin's monetary properties are not absolute. Instead, these properties are evaluated by the market relative to the properties inherent in other monetary systems. Recognize that every time a dollar is sold for Bitcoin, the exact same number of dollars and Bitcoin exist in the world. All that changes is the relative preference of holding one currency versus another. As the value of Bitcoin rises, it is an indication that market participants increasingly prefer holding Bitcoin over dollars. A higher price of Bitcoin, in dollar terms, means more dollars must be sold to acquire an equivalent amount of Bitcoin. In aggregate, it is an evaluation by the market of the relative strength of monetary properties. Price is the output. Monetary properties are the input. As individuals evaluate the monetary properties of Bitcoin, the natural question becomes, which possesses more credible monetary properties? Bitcoin or the dollar? Well, what backs the dollar, or euro or yen, etc., in the first place? When attempting to answer this question, the retort is most often that the dollar is backed by the government, the military, or taxes. However, the dollar is backed by none of these. Not the government, not the military and not taxes. Governments tax what is valuable. A good is not valuable because it is taxed. Similarly, militaries secure what is valuable, not the other way around. And a government cannot dictate the value of its currency. It can only dictate the supply of its currency. Venezuela, Argentina, and Turkey all have governments, militaries and the authority to tax, yet the currencies of each have deteriorated significantly over the past 5 years. While it's not sufficient to prove the counterfactual, each is an example that contradicts the idea that a currency derives its value as a function of government. Each and every episode of hyperinflation should be evidence enough of the inherent flaws in fiat monetary systems, but unfortunately it is not. Rather than understanding hyperinflation as the logical end game of all fiat systems, most simply believe hyperinflation to be evidence of monetary mismanagement. This simplistic view ignores first principles, as well as the dynamics which ensure monetary debasement in fiat systems. While the dollar is structurally more resilient as the global reserve currency, the underpinning of all fiat money is functionally the same, and the dollar is merely the strongest of a weak lot. Once the mechanism that backed the dollar, and all fiat systems, is better understood, it provides a baseline to then evaluate the mechanisms that back Bitcoin. But that is a topic for another video. The hardest mental hurdle to overcome, when evaluating Bitcoin as money, is often that it is digital. Bitcoin is not tangible, and on the surface, it is not intuitive. How could something entirely digital be money? While the dollar is mostly digital, it remains far more tangible than Bitcoin in the mind of most. While the digital dollar emerged from its paper predecessor and physical dollars remain in circulation, Bitcoin is natively digital. With the dollar, there is a physical representation that anchors our mental models in the tangible world. With Bitcoin, there is not. While Bitcoin possesses far more credible monetary properties than the dollar has always been money, for most of us, and as a consequence, its digital representation is seemingly a more intuitive extension from the physical to the digital world. While the dollar's basis as money is anchored in time and while its digital nature may seem more tangible, Bitcoin represents finite scarcity. The supply of the dollar, on the other hand, has no limits. In summary, Bitcoin is backed by the fact that it is scarce, desirable property that cannot be debased. If you have questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section. Until next time, assalamu alaikum.